Welcome to a special edition of Patriots Press Pass. Some leftover thoughts from the Patriots and the Browns in the week ahead. I'm Alex Barth, joined by Evan Lazar. We are brought to you by betonline.ag. Visit their website and use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% welcome bonus. We're also brought to you by Keeps.com. For the first step against hair loss, visit Keeps.com/garden. That's KEEPS.com/garden for your first month free. We're also brought to you today by HelloFresh.com, America's #1 meal kit. For seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door, visit HelloFresh.com/CLNS80 for $80 off your first month. Now I'd like to welcome in Evan Lazar. Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. From the home offices today, we decided to do this.
Right. For both of us. I mean, we spent enough time out in the rain yesterday. I think it's more than fair we get to be inside. Let's get first, real quick, leftover thoughts from the game yesterday.
Well, I thought watching the game back that my biggest takeaway is actually something that you said after the game, believe it or not. Just kidding.
Wow.
And that was brutal start.
Seriously. Who cares?
And that was that, I think at this point, with Sanu out there, with N'Keal Harry supposedly coming back maybe as soon as this week, and everybody seems to be pretty positive about N'Keal. I was talking to Joe Judge today, and he seems pretty positive about that. The Patriots have plenty of weapons, honestly. They really do. They got plenty of receivers. They got plenty of running backs. Now it's just, and we're going to talk about this at length in a little bit here, now it's just about protecting Tom Brady. And they really have enough, I think, on offense around Brady at this point. If you take out the offensive line and you just look at his weapons, we've talked a lot about the weapons, the lack of weapons. Do they have enough firepower? I think those questions can kind of go away, and really let's focus on getting him protected, getting the running game going. I think that's their biggest concern right now on offense moving forward. They go 4 or 5 deep at receiver once Harry comes back. They got 3 or 4 running backs that they can pick from. Damian Harris can't even get on the field because their backfield is so deep.
Right.
And they really don't have any problems at the skill positions. I understand that outside of Edelman at receiver, they don't really have they don't have a Gronk, right? They don't have another guy.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, they're in pretty good shape, I think, overall with the skill players.
So, and I agree too, and I think maybe they're hoping Mohamed Sanu can. No, I don't want to say be Gronk because obviously he can't, but sort of take over in that role. And I don't know if the recording has you frozen on the still that I haven't.
I think I'm frozen, but you can still hear me.
Yeah. My leftover thought. I got 3 stats for you here. They're all kind of related, and I kind of went through and I did that this morning. So first off, yesterday was Tom Brady's 155th career game without an interception. That is the most all-time. The next closest is Drew Brees at 116. In terms of games with 2 or more touchdowns and no interceptions, Brady yesterday was his 105th. Brees is behind him at 77. The final stat I want to throw out here, and this really puts Brady's dominance into perspective, right? You say, okay, well, Brady's played games than a lot of those guys. And it's not a lot more, but it's more. Fine, he's had more chances. This is, of all the quarterbacks with 200 or more regular season starts, percentage of those starts in which the quarterback did not throw an interception. I'll give you second place first. Phillip Rivers is in second place, 45%. Of all the quarterbacks with 200 or more, Phillip hasn't thrown a pick in 45% of them. Tom Brady ahead of him, 56% of his starts. Nobody else is above 45. Tom Brady's at 56%. Drew Brees is in third at 43.4. Peyton Manning in fourth at 42.1. Eli Manning at 37.2. Brett Favre at 35.1. Dan Marino also at 35.1. Warren Moon at 34.6. So the range, again, for 200-plus star quarterbacks, Moon at the back end. I left a couple off there. Moon at the back end at 34.6. Brady, 56% of his starts, he's not throwing an interception. The next closest quarterback with his kind of body of work is at 45%. That blew me away when I found that today. And that just to reinforce it again, and I know, unfortunately, because of narratives that are out there, we're talking about how this may be the end of us getting to watch Tom Brady week in and week out. And I just kind of want to use that stat to once again hammer home. We can talk about what happens next, and that's certainly important. But I want to make sure people know, just enjoy this while we're seeing this. Because yesterday was far from his best game. But again, even the games where he is average, it shows you really how special he has been and how special he continues to be. So just wanted to kind of, fawn over Brady there for a second. But I thought, I don't know, I thought those were interesting stats.
Yeah, I actually think that Brady played pretty darn well yesterday. I don't know if it was his best game of the year, but it was certainly in the top three. And the reason why was because he made 3 or 4 throws that were those big time franchise quarterback throws. I mean, the throw that he made early in the game to Philip Dorsett.
I just off the top of my head, the one to Dorsett down the sideline, the one rolling to Edelman, the one to Sanu on the sideline, and of course the back shoulder to Watson was probably his best throw.
Those 4 throws are up there for his 4 best throws of the entire season, and he did it all in one game. The throw, all of them were good. The throw that he made to Dorsett early on that third down play up the sideline in the rain to make that kind of throw is just it's an absolutely beauty of a throw. I mean, there's no separation really there, and he just drops it right in the bucket. And there's really no other spot that he could have put that ball where Dorsett was going to be able to catch it. He basically handed it off to him. And that type of throw, to see Brady be able to do that, really hammers home your point. It also hammers home the point that Brady, the weapons, that's if anything's holding back the offense, it's not those 2 things anymore at this point. If it was, not saying it ever was Brady's fault, but, it just...
No, I get what you're saying. But with that being said, and that kind of leads us into this next piece here, the reports are the Patriots still looking for a wide receiver. Or a tight end, and they still might be looking to add a weapon. Are you buying that at all?
Well, I haven't heard anything on the wide receiver front. From over the summer till now, until they made the trade for Mohamed Sanu, his name kept on coming up every single time, you inquire about the Patriots in the wide receiver market. So I really thought that was their move at the wide receiver market. I think that O.J. Howard is a possibility if the Bucs lower their asking price. Right now, I think it's probably going to be at least a first-round pick to get O.J. Howard out of Tampa. And that it could be more than just a first-round pick, especially because the Patriots are going to be picking at the back end of the first round. They might be looking for like a first and a fourth or a first and a fifth or something like that, which I just think is batshit, and I don't think the Patriots are going to go there. So maybe if the Bucs lower the next 24 hours, whatever it is, they somehow lower the price on O.J. Howard, and the Patriots can swoop in on that. I could see them making a deal for Howard or another tight end potentially. But I think the wide receivership, unless like Odell Beckham becomes available, we talked about this last night kind of jokingly, but unless
him and Brady had an extended chat out in the hallway there after the game. And we saw the picture with the cleats and Baker Mayfield looking jealous as all hell.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's clearly a bromance going on there between Odell and Brady. Maybe Edelman should be a little bit jealous, the way that Brady looks at.
Well, it's different there because Baker is jealous because you only have one quarterback. If Odell comes in, Edelman gets less coverage. So he would welcome that, I would think. I hate to go, and you know me, I really don't like to go down the rabbit holes and the conspiracies and all that, and the middle school cafeteria bull. But I will say this: if Brady is really on the fence about coming back to New England next year, and I'm not saying you do this at the deadline now, but this is more of an off-season thing. If Brady's on the fence about coming back next year, and you get Odell Beckham from the Browns for I don't know, called 2 firsts.
Yeah.
That seems like a win-win to me. It really does. Because those 2 firsts, you say, all right, Tom, we're going to essentially unvoid those last 2 years on your contract. You give us 2 more years. We'll trade for your guy, Odell Beckham. You'll have him. And then Beckham's under, you don't have to sign Beckham. He's under a contract. He signed a new contract right before, I forget it was right after he got to Cleveland. I don't want to dabble right before. I don't want to dabble too much in the conspiracies, but that all sort of, if they need a final, if Brady's like, I want to stay, but, what can you do for me? Grease the wheels a little bit.
Yeah.
That, I'm watching it. I don't think it happens. I really don't think it happens at the deadline. The Browns are a sinking ship. They're not going to admit it. They're not going to trade him right now. If they move him, it means Freddie Kitchens is gone and they're completely blowing the thing up. But let's say they finish, they're 2-6 at the halfway point. Let's say they finish 4-12. All of a sudden, hey, here's a first-round pick this year, a first-round pick next year. You give us Odell, who's not happy, and maybe that keeps Brady in New England. I wouldn't rule. Again, I hate the drama.
We're
behind the
really
scenes
this
kind of
is
stuff.
there is no reporting whatsoever at all. This is just us two talking about
No,
Odell
this
Beckham.
is just me lining up a hypothetical, but I can't find
reporting.
right. But I just can't find the hole in it. So, and again, I really don't like going. I just want to emphasize, I don't like going down these rabbit holes. So when I bring this up again, this is something I actually am keeping an eye on. I'm not just throwing something against the wall here. Keeping an eye on as it's interesting, not as in, I know as much as everybody else. I know the meeting in the hallway. I know the picture Odell gave him the cleats, and we have a pretty well documented history of Odell's infatuation with Tom Brady and the Patriots.
Oh, it's a bromance. The two love each other. That's there's no doubt about that. I think the issue with Cleveland is actually, from what I understand and from what all the rumors are at this point, is looking to add at the deadline, not subtract from their team.
No, this wouldn't happen at the deadline. They should look to subtract. They should pick up picks.
Right. They're all in on trying to go after Trent Williams at the moment because they have about $30 million in cap space. So they're a team that can really easily bring in Trent Williams. So they're looking to
try to fix that team. You know what they should do to try to fix that team?
Fire Freddie Kitchens.
Fire Freddie Kitchens. Exactly what I was going to. I was waiting for that text this morning. Or that tweet this morning.
The thing about it is that's funny about Freddie Kitchens. I know this isn't the Freddie Kitchens show we're doing here, but
it's a leftover thought. It's relevant. Go for it.
The funny thing about it is that schematically, I actually liked a lot of the things that they did. Like if you watch what their schemes are, especially their running schemes, that they're an impressively designed offense. It's the details that they don't have down. They had 9 pre-snap penalties yesterday. 9.
The man took and 6 of those are false starts. The man took a delay of game on 4th and 11 to buy himself time to go for it on 4th and 16, so he didn't have to waste the timeout. That's a fireable offense to me.
Right.
That's a fireable offense. All right, let's get to the final topic here. You get it once a month. Patriots assistant coaches talk to the media.
Yeah.
Normally they back it up with it's the end of one month and the beginning of the next, so we'll probably get them again.
Yeah.
Today's 28th. Yeah, it'll be November at the end of the week.
Yeah. We'll get them on Friday or something.
But it's always really good insight. We get some of the specifics that Bill Belichick won't necessarily delve into during our 2 or 3 times a week with him. So just what stood out for you today? Was there one coach, one quote, maybe something that you think was a
we wanted to talk about the offensive line. I wrote about Joe Judge and what he had to say about N'Keal Harry, so you can just go ahead and read that on the website. But we wanted to talk about the offensive line anyways. And today, this was as frustrated and kind of as, I would say, candid that Dante Scarnecchia has been since I've been on the beat with us. And he just flat out said that the O-line is not playing up to what his standard, and that he actually took the blame on himself and said that he is not coaching well enough because they're.
Do you think he means that?
I think he does, because what he specifically said is that we're watching the tape back and we're just not seeing enough on the tape of what we're trying to coach into the players, the techniques, the timing, seeing the entire picture as 5 men seeing it through one set of eyes. All those things he said, they're just not there, and it's not happening. On Sunday against the Browns, Tom Brady was pressured on almost 44% of his dropbacks. It was the highest pressure rate in the game this season for him. And the offense really just anchors when he gets put under pressure. He's actually one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure in the league per PFF this year. And I don't think that it's a Brady issue per se. I think that those pressures are coming fast, they're coming unblocked, and there's really no place for him to go, when it does happen. And it's really starting to really hurt them. And I think Scarnecchia is just frustrated because he can't get what they need out of these guys. Marshall Newhouse yesterday, 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, 3 hurries, team high 6 total quarterback pressures allowed. Obviously, James Ferentz fills in for Shaq Mason at right guard, allows 4 hurries in that start. And you look at that and you kind of say, okay, well, James Ferentz is really your 3rd or 4th string backup interior offensive lineman because you're already starting a backup at center. So you kind of give him a pass, right? This is a spot start. You're not expecting him to be anything special. But the Newhouse numbers are staggering. Marcus Cannon also allowed 5 hurries, mostly against Myles Garrett in pass protection. And you look at all of it and you say to yourself, the biggest thing that could hold the team back right now is this offensive line. They have the defense, they have Brady, they have the offensive firepower, like I said earlier. Right now, if you're looking for an Achilles heel, like what could cost the Patriots the Super Bowl? Fatal flaw. Thank you. It's probably the offensive line right now. And a whole lot is riding on Isaiah Wynn coming back, and not only coming back, but staying on the field, which he hasn't been able to do.
Right.
That's really at the end of the day right now, unless they go out and make a trade, which we can also talk about. Their season in a lot of ways, not to get into hyperbole, but their season in a lot of ways is riding on the shoulders of Isaiah Wynn right now. And I don't think that that's all that much of an exaggeration.
And just to add to that, my takeaway from what the coaches said is, first of all, you got to go back a couple weeks when N'Keal Harry was eligible to return. Right.
Yeah.
On that Monday conference call, Bill said more or less, yeah, he's going to be out there. We're going to activate him. He's going to start practicing. We're good to go. And now with Isaiah Wynn today, they didn't rule it out that we could see him at practice on Wednesday, and we'll see. But there was not that overwhelming confidence, and they did not seem as assured that Isaiah Wynn is back. He's good to go. They're ready to bring him off IR that they had with N'Keal Harry. So because of everything you just said, I don't need to repeat it all, but it concerns me that they don't seem to be. And again, he could be fine, and this is just them not saying anything, and he could be out there practicing on Wednesday. I did think at the time it was a little strange how open they were about N'Keal Harry. But
I think they wanted to get people excited because a lot of the conversation was about how they had no weapons, and I think they wanted to put it out there.
When do they care?
They don't care what we say, but I think that they realized that they needed more weapons, and they were excited to get them back internally as well as
that's fair. Well, I would say now they should recognize they need offensive line help, and they should be I'm more excited to get Isaiah Wynn back, but not too open about that. One thing I want to close on here. They did sign Cody Kessler today. The Patriots did, brought him back. He'd stayed in the area. Smart decision by him. But that puts the roster back at 53 players. They beat the Browns with only 52 players on Sunday. Yeah. Everybody thought, okay, they're leaving the roster spot open. Walk N'Keal Harry right back on the roster. But now in comes Cody Kessler, again against a mobile quarterback. They signed him before the Bills and Josh Allen, now before Lamar Jackson, who's slightly more mobile. There's a long way of saying who's man out here. Somebody on the 53 roster right now, probably, because we saw it with Ben Watson, it's a slightly different situation, but probably won't be on the roster Sunday so they can activate N'Keal Harry. Who do you think the odd man off is?
I think it's Cody Kessler. I think Cody Kessler is here to play scout team this week and for whatever reason mimic Lamar Jackson, which is really, I couldn't think of a quarterback that's kind of, I don't know how similar Cody Kessler really is to Lamar Jackson, but that's besides the point. I think that he's here for scout team. I could easily see the Patriots releasing him on Saturday and activating N'Keal Harry to the roster. They could wait till after the bye with N'Keal Harry too. I wouldn't be all that surprised if they hold him until after the bye.
They have 2 weeks to activate him.
Right. No, they can wait. They can wait till after the bye. This is the first game that he's eligible to play. So they have another 2 or 3 weeks after this to then activate him.
I thought it was just 2 weeks from when he practices.
No, that's just the deadline to actually activate him for a game.
But
now the clock starts. Now there's another clock that will start ticking.
This is the 21-day clock here.
Right. Okay, so he's got a 21-day window here to be activated. So I could see them waiting until after the bye. But I don't think this Cody Kessler stint is going to last too long. Before we signed off too, I just wanted to mention.
Wait. Can I say who I think is off?
Oh yeah, my bad. Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. I'm still waiting for.
This is what I always do to Alex. I just cut him off. It's just
it really is. I think, and I'm the one who has to edit this, so the longer it gets, the more work for me. Ben Watson's played really well. I'm still impressed with Eric Tomlinson. I know not a lot of people are, but I am. Between Lacoste and Izzo, one of those guys is heading to IR. It doesn't make sense for them to keep 4 tight ends.
I don't know I don't know why they keep on hanging on to Lacoste either. Yeah, I don't know why Lacoste he can't stay healthy. It just seems like he's a big IR candidate for me as well.
I don't think Kessler's necessarily long-term for the roster either. Again, ideally in a couple weeks left to open up a roster spot for Isaiah Wynn, but I think the tight ends are, you bring in N'Keal Harry, logic says you remove a pass catcher. All right, what was your final thought?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to mention Trent Williams because we wanted to touch on some trade things. So the Redskins are now apparently fielding offers for Trent Williams again, or have opened up their minds to maybe trading or moving Trent Williams. I think the biggest thing, the Patriots will probably, I think, will be heavily monitoring the market for Trent Williams. I don't think that they're a front runner right now. I wouldn't call it that, or even a finalist even at this point to land Trent Williams. But when you look at the cap implications, a few weeks ago, I think it would have been really difficult for them to make this work. Now it's still difficult, but I wouldn't say it's quite as hard as it was for them to do it before because his salary has now been dwindled down to the prorated amount. So he's only due about $5.8 million for the rest of the season. I think it's actually 5.7. And the Patriots have about $2.8 million in salary cap space. So they only need to really free up $3 million. And then once they get Trent Williams on the roster, they can convert his salary and lower the number even further. So they could do it if they wanted to do it, is my point. If they wanted to trade for Trent Williams, they can do some cap gymnastics and get it done. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to offer up what some of these other teams. Cleveland is apparently going to offer some sort of Godfather offer for Trent Williams. Multiple first round picks.
How about Nate Solder?
I don't see Nate Solder. Quite frankly, I don't see Nate Solder as that much of an upgrade over Marshall Newhouse.
Okay.
Like his.
I mean, I have to add, the name's been out there. I have to ask you. It's been
his career has really fallen apart in New York. Now, granted, if they brought Nate Solder back and you put him back with Scarnecchia in this scheme and this system,
everybody remember what Evan said about Jamie Collins this summer here before he was on trashing Nate Solder.
Yeah, so maybe if you put him back in the right system, back with Scar, maybe they can get back to where, closer to where he was when he left New England. But right now, as a Giant, he's a turnstile for the Giants. He's one of the worst tackles in the league. I think that it's possible, but I wouldn't. I think that they really are banking on Isaiah Wynn, but I think that the Trent Williams market is going to be interesting to monitor because it is a kind of a perfect stopgap type situation, right? You bring Trent Williams in, even if you keep him for next year too, because he's under contract for another year. You bring him in for a year and a half. You bring him in for 7 games or whatever it ends up being, 8 games, and you at least have that kind of bridge to Isaiah Wynn. So Isaiah Wynn's not coming back with all the expectations of the world of starting at left tackle for the defending Super Bowl champs for the rest of the year into the playoffs, into a potential another trip to the Super Bowl. So I could see it happening now more than I could have a few weeks ago because of what Scarnecchia said today. Scarnecchia said today that the running game sucks, the pass protection sucks, and he sucks. He said all 3 of those without the word suck, but he said it in a more professional way. But that was essentially what he said. I think when you look at that, Bill Belichick's not typically a coach that hears that type of things from his position coach and then just does nothing about it. Right. And just says, let's just, too bad. Like, we're just going to make it do with Marshall Newhouse for the rest of the year. It just doesn't seem realistic. So I really think that they're going to be hunting in the tackle market as well as the tight end market.
All right, so we will see a lot to monitor in the next 24 hours, and the Patriots begin practice for the Ravens on Wednesday. We'll have you completely covered, CLNSmedia.com, and on Twitter at PatriotsCLNS. This Patriots Press Pass has been brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Visit their website. Use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% welcome bonus. It's also been brought to you by Keeps.com. Visit Keeps.com/garden to take the first steps against hair loss. That's KEEPS.com/garden. And it's been brought to you by HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. For $80 off your first month, visit HelloFresh.com/CLNS80 and use the code CLNS80. For Evan Lazar, I'm Alex Barth. Thanks for watching, everybody.